Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll just give it another few seconds. Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to Adith Emmanuel on this fourth Friday. How quickly the weeks pass of the month. And since we're in January, we are missing having our choir up on the bima with us, but they will return in March. And we're delighted that tonight we have a couple of our students from our confirmation class who attended the Lita Ken seminar in Washington, D.C., who will be sharing some words with us. And it's Shabbat. I would encourage you, if you feel comfortable doing so, to move a little bit forward. And if I had my conveyor belt that I've yet to invent, where I push the button, the first 3 rows would go into the floor and everyone would slide up. But I haven't invented it yet, so welcome and glad you're here with us in person and those who are able to join us through the blessing of technology. We're opening our Shabbat service this evening on page 650 with Yismechu Hashamayim, the bottom of the page.
Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam. Yiram hayam umelo. Yiram hayam umelo. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim. Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz.
We turn now to the lighting and blessing of our Shabbat candles. So we turn in our prayer books to page 120 in the Siddur. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we continue on page 123, with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tekilah lemikra'ei kodesh, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקודש השבת. לחיים.
And so we turn now to page 138. Page 138 in the brackets. We welcome in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nekabla, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu Elam yuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nekabla, Likrat Shabbat ekuvanelcha, Ki mekora beracha, Merosh mikadem nasucha, Sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nekabla.
We rise facing the entrance, welcoming in Shabbat.
Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam besimcha uv'zola, Toch emune am segula, Boi kala, Boi kala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nikabila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pidei Shabbat nekabla.
As we're able, we remain standing, and we take a moment, just as we've greeted Shabbat, to turn to somebody, perhaps not the person next to you if you already know that person, somebody in front of you, behind you. Introduce yourselves to one another and greet one another. Shabbat Shalom. And we're waving to the people who are joining us through the blessing of technology. You might also add where it is you're joining us this evening as you write your Shabbat Shalom greetings to one another in the chat. And these are conversations we can continue at our Oneg Shabbat following services. As we're able, we remain standing and turn now to the blue sheets, the Shabbat prayer cards, as we continue with Baruch Hu at the top of page 1.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamivorach. Baruch Adonai Hamivorach Leolam Vad, Leolam Vad. Yalalai lai lai, 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 yalalai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai.
And we continue on page 152, page 152 in the brackets.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Be seated. Wait.
Big book. That's good.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Bishinam tam livanecha bidibartabam Beshivtecha b'beitecha uvlevtecha baderech uvshokbecha, uvkumecha, ukshartam leot aliadeha, behayuletotafot bein eineha, uvtavtam al mizuzot beitecha, uvishareha. Leman tiskiru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim leloechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
On page 157, we continue. Together, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh.
Page 161 in the brackets, we read together in the middle of the page. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת שבת.
We turn now to page 164 in the brackets. As we're able, we rise in body and spirit for tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagdol hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, gomel chasadim tovim, ve'koneh hakol, ve'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevii geula livnei v'nehem, leman shemo be'ava. Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mikayeh hakol atarav le'oshia, Mavshiv haruach morita k'Hashem, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somit noflim v'rofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishinei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umito melach, melech meimit umechayeh, umasmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue on page 173. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On page 177, we continue. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol, lechol, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. ותובנך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך, בשלומך, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim, Tasim, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
As we prepare for silent meditation, we might choose to follow along some of the prayers that are on pages 180 and 181 in the prayer book, or other prayers throughout our Siddur. Or we might choose to turn inward. If our arms and legs might be crossed now, to uncross them, take a seated position, upright, open our heart space, and take in a deep breath and let it out. And let us be guided by our prayers and thoughts in our hearts.
Say shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'akol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen, v'imru amen, v'imru amen. V'imru amen, oseh shalom, oseh shalom bimromav,
Oseh shalom,
hu yaseh shalom. one who makes peace above and watches over us, help us build a world filled with love.
May the one who makes peace above and watches all of us, Uyaseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom bimroma.
Oseh Shalom.
Uyaseh Shalom.
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel. May the one who makes peace above and watches over us help us build a world filled with love. May the one who makes peace above and blesses all of us, Uyaseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom.
Uyaseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom.
Uyaseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom.
We turn our thoughts and prayers now to those who are in need of healing. And so we turn in our prayer book to page 371, page 371 in the brackets in the middle of the page. If you're joining us through the blessing of technology and you're thinking of individuals who are in need of healing, whether it's a healing of the body or mind or spirit, feel free to add those names in the chat. We extend our blessings of healing to the following people in our extended Addith Emanuel family: Sloan O'Connell, Marnie O'Connell, Peter Kranzler, Shonda Dotson, Carol Ann Ettinger, Harry Greenberg, Kelly Summer, Elisa Walter, Ileana Cohn, Goldie Schultz, Yaakov Navon, Patty Bertuglia, David Barnhard, David Malamet, Nathaniel Benjamin Ben Tamar Chana, Rosalie Middleman, Rav Chana Bat Moshe Veraiza Itka, Harriet Eisner. And if you're here in the sanctuary and have others whose names you'd like to add at this time, please, as you're able, rise and say their names aloud as my hand passes through the congregation. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor
You may close your books. So this week in our Torah portion, Bo, we pick up where we left off last week. We're in the middle of the plagues. So 7 times already, Moses and Aaron have gone before Pharaoh, demanding that the Hebrew slaves be let free. And each time Pharaoh says no, and God strikes Egypt with a plague. But then after some relief, Pharaoh changes his mind and says no, they cannot go. And this week we see the plagues of locusts, darkness, and the death of the firstborn. And it's this last plague, the 10th plague, the death of the firstborn, that hits Pharaoh harder and more personally than all the previous plagues. And finally, it's on this 10th try that Moses, Aaron, and all the Hebrew slaves see results. 2 weeks ago, a number of our 10th grade confirmation students traveled to Washington, D.C., participating in what is known as the Litaken seminar, along with me and Maura Michael. And this was organized by the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. And I just want to express my thanks to Adith Emanuel, who makes this trip possible for our students with a rather large scholarship that subsidizes the trip for each student. And so we have 2 of our participants who are going to share with us tonight a little bit about their experience in just a moment. After the teens learn about topics about the art and the art of lobbying during this seminar, the trip culminates with the students going to Capitol Hill to ask their senators and representatives or their staff members to support and pass legislation on various topics. And one fun fact that I picked up this year was the reminder that sometimes a bill on any given topic will take many readings, many amendments, many changes, many tries to go back and back again before it comes a law, reminding me of how many times that Moses and Aaron had to go before Pharaoh before the answer was yes. I have to say I was very impressed with the professionalism of our young students, and here they are today to tell us a little bit more about their experiences, and I don't know which order you're going to go in, but we have Samuel Seidman and Leah Katz who are going to share with us a little bit about their experience in Washington, D.C. on the Litaken seminar.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you did not know me, my name is Samuel. As many of my peers will talk, well, not many, as one of my peers will talk about, I went on the El Taken trip with my confirmation class this year. For me, this was an unbelievably fun time. This trip is in Washington, D.C., and we were with many other congregations and hundreds of other Reformed Jewish teens. If you think about it, I will most likely never be in that large of a group of Jewish people for the rest of my life. Although we were there for only 3 days, I learned so much. Each day was packed with lessons, and there wasn't a moment when you weren't looking, learning, or talking about something important that's happening around America. This could be immigration, voting rights, anti-Semitism, and we had a chance to ask for positive changes with these topics. Also, for me, this was my first trip not with any family. This was just a trip with me and my friends, and chaperones. But when we were out in a place called Pentagon Row, we just felt like we were having fun. We were free, nothing to worry about. During that night in Pentagon Row, me, Aaron, Chase, Olivia, and Leah all went to this Lebanese restaurant. We talked for a bit and just enjoyed it like any friend group would. But what I noticed at that time is I never actually got to sit down with them to just talk previously. This trip allowed me to get closer to others in my confirmation class that I hadn't really talked to before. And I found out that these people were really amazing. And also, on the last day we were there, this was Monday, we got to talk, ourselves, we didn't get to talk to Andy Kim, but we heard other congregations lobby with Andy Kim, and that was incredibly neat. We were in the Senate, and it was just an amazing experience going to DC and learning everything. Even though it's politics, it was still an amazing thing to learn about. If anyone is through the blessing of technology and is a teen or a preteen, I would really, really, really recommend this trip. Thank you again, and Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, I'm Leah Katz, and I also went along with the confirmation class to Washington, D.C. For the RAC's, Latakin program. I just have to say that this program was such an experience into stepping into power and stepping into, fighting for things that you believe in. We honestly, going into it, I don't think either of us knew that we were going to be advocating for a bill from the House of Representatives or from the Senate. Ours was from the House of Rep. But going into it, we didn't know we were going to meet, the senator or any of the members. And honestly, it was just such a knowledgeable, a knowledge-filled experience that I was able to share with, a lot of my friends. And you know what? I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of new people too. It shocked me the amount of Jewish teenagers that actually existed in our country. I didn't know they were from Kentucky. I didn't know there were any Jews in Kentucky at all. But besides that, everyone was so nice, and I even got their numbers and formed a little group to myself. It was just all of it. It was such a great experience to be with each other. It really, signified to me that we really are all together as Jews. We really all have each other's backs, even if we're from Kentucky or not. I would highly recommend this trip for the upcoming confirmation class. This trip with Latakin and the RAC and everything. It was truly a wonderful experience. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
So thank you, Samuel and Leah, for just sharing those words. Samuel mentioned that we had an audience with Senator Kim. That's very unusual. I've been on this Litaken trip for several years, and usually we just meet with the staffer. And there were 70 teens in this delegation from New Jersey that met with Senator Kim. And there was something that Senator Kim said that really stuck with me. Actually, a couple things. One, he says, "You are my boss." And he really meant that. And here he is, he's speaking to a group of teens who aren't even old enough to vote. But what he was conveying to these students is that I am representing you in the Senate, and what is important to you is what I'm going to try to push forth in the legislation. And I think from listening to him, he really meant that. You are my boss. The other statement that he made that really stuck with me was he said, don't let this be the end of it. Like, you came here, you had a chance to present and listen, but don't just go home and then the weekend was over. Go out there and speak to the adults in your community. Let them know what happened and tell them about that. And keep on discussing these things because it's important. And so I want to thank especially Samuel and Leah, who are representing the 7 students who went this past couple weeks ago. And remember that it doesn't stop from this weekend. You're here tonight sharing it with the adults in the room and reminding us how important it is to use our Jewish values to help create the world that we want to see. And I want to call the 2 of you over and ask Aaron to come back on the bima. I have a little something, and actually Maura and Michael, if you would come up too. I have a certificate for each of you that says from the Religious Action Center, the Litaken Bernard and Audrey Rappaport Litaken Social Justice Seminar, granted to each of you from Adith Emanuel for the successful completion of the Bernard and Audrey Rappaport Litaken Social Justice Seminar, January 9th to 12th, 2026. And it describes what it is. It's an educational program held in the nation's capital. Participants explore public policy issues from a Jewish perspective and learn how they can become more active and inform citizens through approximately 35 hours of seminars, discussions, and educational exercises. You might have missed school on Friday and Monday, but you sure did not miss an education. So, I also, in addition to the certificate, I also want to give you a pin that, for each of you, that was at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, and on the pin it says, "What you do matters." Wear this on your backpack, on your coat, wherever you wear it, and it will remind you of this weekend that what you have done matters, what you continue to do matters, and anyone who sees this pin will also understand that what they do in life matters. So, Leah, Mazel tov. Aaron, Samuel, you're welcome. And more, Michael, what you do matters too. We have a sermon anthem, if you will, that I think was very much a message that we heard repeatedly. We sang it a couple times throughout the weekend. There's some call and response places you'll know where to chime in. We're all going to go over to the cantorial lectern.
Come in, I have my own mic coming.
I will open my eyes.
I will open my eyes.
I will not look away.
I will not look away.
I will use this gift I've been given every day. I will give of myself. I will give of myself.
I will give of myself.
I will reach out my hand.
I will reach out my hand.
I will use this heart I've been given to take a stand. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. I will fight for the truth. I will fight for the truth.
I will fight for the truth.
I'll stand up for what's right.
I'll stand up for what's right.
I will use the strength I've been given to be a light. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Change the world. Change the world. Your voices. Yes, thank you. You can leave them.
Proud, so proud. We turn now in our prayer books to page 586. Page 586 at the bottom of the page. As we're able, we rise in body and spirit for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, לתת גדולה ליוסף בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Maybe seated. Our thoughts and prayers turn now to those who are no longer with us, and so we turn in our Siddur to pages 598 and 599. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We recall the memories of those during this period of Shiva and Shloshim. Stephen Barry Ratner, brother-in-law of the late Rabbi Richard Levine and Judy Levine, uncle of Ari Levine, Ron Levine and Kim, Brian Golder and Iris, Jason Chaikin and Lisa, Deborah Golder and Chelsea, Matt Chaikin, Samantha Chaikin and David, Yael Ameneker and Doug, and Shira Keat and Lior. We also recall the memory of Dr. Ivan Rudolph, beloved husband of the late Ruth Rudolph, father of Jonathan, Rudolph, Dina, Yoshimi, and David, and Michael, Rudolph, and Andrea, grandfather of Aaron, Kobe, Jody, Benjamin, and Jacob, and Marilyn Francis Knappen, sister of Sheila Knappen. We also think of those who died at the season in years past, whose yahrzeits we mark on the Shabbat. Jacob Adler, Lester Barsky, Gertrude Mayer, George Middleman, Stanton Oliver, Louis Raghavan, Maurice Sattinger, Jenny Silver, Mildred Solat, Sarah Spann, Stanley N. Starbecker, Giti Strumwasser, George Weiss. And if there are others whose names we want to mention at this time, if you're joining through the blessing of technology and want to add those names into the chat, please do so. And if you're here in person in the sanctuary and have names that you'd like to add, I'd invite you, as you're able, to rise in your place and say those names as my hand passes through the congregation. If you're here tonight in the period of Shiva or Shloshim or in the first year of mourning, I invite you to rise at this time. If you're here tonight observing a yahrzeit, the anniversary of a loved one, I invite you to rise at this time. We think of those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, those for whom there is no one to say Kaddish. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we all rise now as we're able. As one congregation in comfort and support, we continue with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uvyomei chon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh, v'yit adar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei dekudasha b'riachu, le'ela min kol virchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Huya Aseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. May be seated. And it's my pleasure to invite our synagogue president, Shira Keat, to share with us some hodaot, some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is wonderful to welcome in Shabbat together with all of you. I would like to thank Rabbi Memis Foler and Cantor Sandy, our accompanist Reed, and Chase and Michael as well, for leading us in tonight's service. I would also like to thank our greeters, Jenna Bain and Robin Schaefer, as well as Stacy Solzberg, Samuel Simon, Judy Richter, and Diane Singer for helping to set up our oneg for after services. We hope that you can join us tomorrow morning at 8:45 for our weekly Torah Talk and Bagels. Our Shabbat morning services will follow at 10. We welcomed our K through second grade families this evening for Shabbat dinner and a Kabbalah service. So I just wanted to let everyone know it was wonderful and it was nice to see everyone there. Some upcoming events and things that are coming up this week that might interest you. Saturday, tomorrow night at 7:30, Sisterhood is having their comedy night featuring Ariel Elias, who has been on Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and Good Morning America. So hopefully you can join us. Sunday, just to let everyone know, the building is going to be closed in anticipation of the winter storm. So everyone gets a snow day. So make sure you have some hot chocolate, you can have a fire, go sledding, whatever you want to do. But you have that day to be with family and friends. Monday, at 1 o'clock, we usually have Mahjong Mondays, and at 5:30 we have Canasta. But just make sure you check your emails and your social media for weather updates, because we have to see how the building is. We want to make sure everyone can travel safely. So we don't want you coming in if it's not going to be safe for you to come in yet. So just check for that. Hopefully Tuesday, we will be back and running, and at 7:30 p.m. is Men's Club Cornhole. Wednesday, the 28th at 5:30, our youth choir has their rehearsal. And Thursday, the 29th at 6 p.m. is Mahjong Thursdays. So you can find all of these details and more in the weekly email and on our website. And following services, please join us in the social hall for a delicious oneg. May this Shabbat bring you peace and lots of warmth. Shabbat Shalom.
Fun fact, the comedian who is coming Saturday night, Ariel Elias, she's Jewish and she's from Kentucky. Who knew, right? For our closing song, along with this theme about doing things that can help change the world, we turn to page 652. Page 652 in the brackets, Ani ve'ata.
אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה, אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה נשנה מההתחלה. יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר זה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי זה לא משנה. ואתה נשנה את העולם.
Please join me in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon, and Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.